Logging out users is a common concern amongst all web applications. In this lesson, we're going to see how Spring Security makes logging out users very simple. To begin, we're going to look at our header.jsp file. Within that JSP file, we have added this anchor tag, which navigates to /logout. Our intent is to have this anchor tag log out the user from the application. One of the things that we're going to have to change about this header.jsp file is how the logout occurs. At the moment, if we were to click on this anchor tag within the application, it's going to fire off a request of type GET to the application server. Unfortunately, we can only log out a user via a POST request. This prevents users from having an attacker log them out via a CSRF attack. Within the list item tag, we're going to add a form, and the form is going to have a method of POST. And then for the action, we're going to grab our URL that we are creating within the href. We will place that within the action. We'll give our anchor tag an href of pound. And now inside our form tag, we need to use Spring Security to put in a CSRF input tag. So at this point, our header has been set up to include a hidden form that will post to our logout URL. In order to have this form be submitted, when we click on the logout anchor, we're going to add an ID, and then we're going to write some JavaScript, which is going to use this anchor tag as well as this form tag, which will also give an ID of logout form. Now I'm going to navigate to the global.js file, which was added to every JSP in our application. From here, we are going to write some simple JavaScript. So we're going to use jQuery, and we're going to grab the logout anchor tag. Every time that anchor tag is clicked, we're going to execute a function. That function is first going to prevent the default event, so that's going to keep us from actually navigating to the pound sign, which is specified as the href. Then it's going to grab the logout form via jQuery, and then we're going to submit that form. So with this simple little piece of JavaScript, we've now allowed our anchor tag to actually perform a post via a hidden form. So let's return back to our header. You'll notice that we would like to log the user out when we post to this /logout URL. So we need to take that URL over into our security context.xml file. Within this file, we're going to configure a logout tag inside of our HTTP tag. So we're going to use the security prefix, and we're going to use the logout tag. Now, the logout tag has some attributes on it that we'll use to further refine our configuration. The first is the logout URL. Essentially, this says when I receive a post to the URL we're going to specify here, invalidate their session and log them out. So that needs to be the URL that we're pointing to in that hidden form. Next, we're going to look at the logout success URL. And this is pretty similar to the authentication failure URL, except now when we log out successfully, we want to navigate to a certain page. So where do we go after I've logged somebody out? Navigate to the login page, and we're going to set a parameter named logout, and we'll set its value to true. So essentially what is going to happen is a user is going to click on the logout link in the header. That's going to kick off our JavaScript event handler, and it's going to submit our form on the header. This form calls the /logout link and passes in a CSRF token. Since we have configured that logout URL, it's going to receive that request submitted by the form. It's going to log the user out, and now it's going to send them to our login page, setting this logout parameter to true. We need to navigate to our login page, we're going to display a message to let them know they have successfully logged out. So since that logout parameter has been entered in our success URL, we can key off of that parameter to conditionally display some logic. So here we're just going to look for the log out parameter, and then we're just going to say you have successfully been logged out. Let's restart our server, head over to our browser, open the application up, and we'll log in. Now you see our logout URL, and once we click on that URL, it says you have successfully been logged out. So that's how we can use the Spring Security Framework to log out our users.